Hi, my name is Karen, and welcome to the PT Breakfast Club podcast.
I was looking at the World Series yesterday, and I thought of Phillies Karen the other day. I was like, look at that. She was everywhere for like 9 seconds. 9 seconds of fame. Remember her? She stole the baseball, or what did she? Did she steal the ball or berated the guy into giving her the ball? That was
Both.
it.
I mean, basically, she, didn't catch it. A guy came over, picked it up off the ground, and then she went over yelling at him that it was her ball because it touched her leg or something.
That makes complete sense.
And then go back even a couple of days before that, and there was the whole CEO scandal with Coldplay. That disappeared like immediately.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, stuff used to happen back when I was a kid. Stuff would happen, and it would at least last like a week or two. Saturday Night Live would get a hold of it. The late night shows would get a hold of it. They batted around for a few days. Now there's a camera everywhere, right? So there's a moment happening everywhere. It doesn't need to just be the CEO at a Coldplay concert or a Phillies game. It can be, well, almost anywhere. It's wild, man. And you have to sort of adjust for that. Not liking it or not liking the way things are, that doesn't work. So I think that's the focus of today's episode. We're looking forwards to 2026. What are you showing me here? What's on the screen?
So Craig Lee.
Oh, this is brilliant. This is so smart.
Okay, so for reference, we're going to do a six-pack episode. We're going to talk about the 6 side hustles. Jimmy will bring you 3. I'll bring you 3. This was decided last minute, so bear with us. But Craig Lee shared this. Company who made the lift used in the Louvre heist goes viral on social media. And, who in the world would think about the company that created this getting notoriety for it? What are your thoughts? I mean, we've seen this, like Dave Kittle shared a car from, I think, like a cosmetic surgery in New York that was getting some social media attention.
My thoughts are, and this is what I was taught early in my radio career, the lesson was, Jimmy, you can't sing, you can't dance, you really can barely tell a joke. How are you going to last in radio? And I was taught yes and. Those 2 words, yes and. So this company, what is it? What is the name of the company? I want to give them credit because they should be getting their moment. Go down just a little bit. Boker. So they make those lifts. You got to paint a ceiling. You got to lift some stuff. You got to do some work on windows. You got to rob the Louvre. You get one of these guys' lifts. And of course, every picture, you can't show the photo of the art that's stolen. I mean, you can, but then like empty walls. And then you have the exterior shot of the crime scene. And their lift is in every single photo. And then do you know who came up with the line? Did you read the article?
No, I did not.
The wife of the owner came up with a line. It's in there right there. Like scroll up again because I want to make sure I stop. When you need to move fast. When you need to move fast, right? I mean, it's a play on it. Did your company, like this company is obviously poised right in the media attention by accident. They're smart. It's a crime. Nobody was injured. Nobody was killed. This is art that was stolen. That's bad. Don't steal art, kids. But they played off of it because, I mean, you had to read the room and you had to be tight, bright, and informative, and they were. And that's really smart. You also suggested that physical therapists do something in the last 48 hours, playing off of something in the media as well. Do you even remember what it was?
It was the ankle, right? The sports injury?
Yeah, Jimmy. The end of Jimmy's fantasy football season because I had Cam Scadaboo on my team. I picked him like in one of the last rounds. I was like, I don't know. I like this meathead, and he turned out to be great for me for the first 8 weeks until a horrible ankle dislocation. But it's a way to insert yourself in the conversation. Now, there's wrong ways to do this, in my opinion. So just talking about it is great, but like going complete science-y real quick, I think is the way you lose people. I think the Louvre thing or the Cam Scadaboo thing is a great way to open up a discussion. I think that's a way to start talking to people.
Yeah, here's the screenshot that I saw. And there are some guys that are doing a great job with this kind of strategy. So let's jump into the topic. What are the side hustles for 2026? We're coming into Q4. I guess we're in Q4 for 2025. 2025 is done. What are we looking at moving forward? What's the low-hanging fruit? What's the easiest thing for us to really jump on? Injuries, popular in media, whether it be an athlete, which tend to be, I think, the most popular. We saw all the Achilles tendon ruptures going on in basketball. Now, NFL, we've got tons of injuries we can talk about. Like, this has media attention. The gambling scandal that's happening right now, with poker and other stuff. Yeah, like all of this, you can take it in multiple directions. Like Jimmy said, you can go super sciencey, but you're not going to hit a huge audience. I think you make it kind of fun, lighthearted. You have a good time with it. And the whole idea here is if you capture that attention, now you can monetize that attention. That's where side hustle number one comes into play. I think that you could do this for physical therapy clinics. You could do this for product companies. We saw the lift to the Louvre. What happened to the scooters? Like, my understanding was the guys who stole the jewelry took off on scooters. Why is the scooter company not coming in and, like, when you need to get somewhere fast or you need to get away from a problem, like, we're the solution. But in therapy, I mean, there's tons of stuff. David Roon's here. Like, he's got products, he's got supplies that get us out of a jam. Let's make some great content for that. I think that's the easiest, lowest hanging fruit.
Yeah, if someone's going to put millions of dollars and billions of eyeballs on an idea or a concept, we know it's going to be for 5, maybe 10 minutes of social time, right? See how you could capitalize on that. This is cooler talk. This is what people are already commenting and talking about. Creating one of these things, creating a boulder and getting it rolling, really, really hard. Very difficult to do. Millions and millions of dollars, lots of effort. But redirecting one or keeping it going or shifting it to this and easier and scalable. You can actually do it. So your first suggestion is what? You want to do odds or evens? You want to go first or second for best side hustles for PTs to add revenue in 2026?
I'll go odds.
Okay.
I think it's, a media influencer taking things that are popular in media right now, doubling, tripling down on them, bringing attention, and having a business, a company, pay you for that attention, whether it be another physical therapy provider, occupational therapy, speech, or a product company that's involved with the profession. We have a unique perspective and expertise that we could look at an injury like that. We can bring context to it. If you have the right personality, you can make it fun and lighthearted. And then that can be turned into new patients in the clinic, more product sales, and somebody somewhere will pay you for that effort.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I called this, or we called this, lots of people called this years ago. Here's an example that I used, which was there apparently is a gum or a candy that is used as a libido driver. You take one of these spicy cubes and puts you or your loved one in the mood and you get all spicy. They have made a complete character out of this. This is Allstate and Mayhem. This is Flow and Progressive. What they've done is these videos are shot as if she's just a regular everyday girl. This came up in my feed somehow. I wasn't searching for spicy cubes, I promise. And you saw it, and I saw it a few times where I'm like, this woman really loves spicy cubes. And I went to her account. Of course, it's Crave Spicy Cubes. But this thing popped up about a month or two ago, and it's got 22,000 followers. Whatever they're paying for this, they're getting back to it. They're getting back for it in triplicate. Okay. So I need brands though. Like, this might work on a local market, like, pretty well. We'll get to some of those ideas, but I'm surprised a large national footprinted brand isn't putting a 10th or a 100th of their marketing budget towards creating people to just do this. Now, I wouldn't just hire the person who has the most Instagram followers at your clinic. I would put strategy behind this. I would have that person be the star, and then there is a person who directs. That person's called a director. So I might launch 10 of these and see which ones go for 6 months and see which ones pop. I feel like that's a low lift, easy way to do it. I mean, this Spicy Cube content could have been shot in a long weekend or a week, right? Outfit changes, location changes, write a bunch of scripts, get together and shoot, and then see which ones pop.
Yeah, I think that's what we're seeing coming into the new year is going to be, it's not about like, you've talked about this, we've all seen it. Is it volume or is it excellence? Like, do you make one perfect video or ad campaign or whatever, or do you do 100 of them and pick the best one?
Yeah.
Production at scale, it costs pennies now. If I'm doing something between VO3, Sora, even if I don't use those tools, which I'm going to talk about that in my next one, even if I don't use those tools for the finished product, for idea generation, I could have 100 examples and iterations of something coming out in an hour and then see which one is best. The production is just off the charts on what it would have been 10 years ago.
Scary. I mean, look at the Spicy Cubes example. I think the mistake myself and a lot of people would make is they'd say, I'm the physical therapist, I'm the star. Spicy Cubes didn't put the scientist or the CEO in charge. They put a user in charge. What if your whole series was my physical therapist told me, my PT told me, oh, I can't get the kids out of the car. My PT showed me how to, right? Like, you redirect it where the PT is this ambiguous expert who's there. But the problem, I think, is a lot of owners will be like, I don't know how do I get ROI on that? How do I direct? How do I see that? That's where I'm dumbfounded that a large ATI or Athletico or IV hasn't jumped on that, because that's beyond regional. They have a national footprint. That would be your ad campaign, and you never need to touch a national CBS or NBC to get a footprint on that. I'm surprised.
Yeah. All right. My number 2.
Okay. Wait, I have to give my number 2. I
thought you did.
Your odds. I'm evens. All right.
That's right. I'm 3.
I know that telehealth is right. What's the rule? Telehealth has been paused officially if you have insurance for Medicare paying for it.
Correct. Well, Medicare coverage has been paused. Medicare is not paying for it. The extension expired September 30th. Right now it's in limbo and nobody knows what's going to happen.
I still think telehealth, Dave his head is probably exploding if he's watching. I still think there's something to that. I think Dave has elements of being right. I don't think it's all in or all out or this is the way. But I think what you're really selling, and I always go back to that Maslow's hierarchy of needs pyramid that you guys hate when I put on the screen, insert the pyramid. But what you're really selling is access and speed. And the fact that we don't on a regular basis just Zoom or see the doctorisoncall.com or I need an expert right now, just a quick, like using your Clarity FM, I'll pay you for 5 minutes of your time. I'd rather feel better. I want clarity. I want competence and confidence. So I really think that telehealth, and if you want to close the loop because you're like, I need an insurance company to pay for it, I still think is it bullish or bearish? I think I'm bullish if I think it's going to go well. Yeah, I'm bullish on RTM plus telehealth. I think that's taking your PT brain online and finally getting paid for it more consistently if you have the right way to route it, right? It's a virtual moment. It's take a look at this, or it hurts when I do that. Should I or shouldn't I? We like to say, didn't Utah get the right to call themselves primary care physical therapists in the last couple of weeks or months? Great. Act like it. The fact that there isn't just a clearinghouse, a way for someone to call or FaceTime 1-800 physical therapists and it get routed to whatever PT is sitting there like an Uber driver who wants to answer that question is confusing to me. Your startup costs for this, relatively low, right? A landing page, a little campaign that we just talked about to get people like understand your offer and then make sure it's seamless or easy for people to get to you to receive that offer. I'm still pretty bullish on, virtual and FaceTime being a great component in 2026 and beyond.
Yeah. Look, here's a perfect example. I'm going to cover up. I got this text, right? It's 3 X-ray images that came into me this morning. Now, this is a friend I'm not charging, But the idea is people want access to information. This person can go to ChatGPT. This person has the surgeon who wants to do a bunionectomy and a couple other things to her. She just wants somebody she can trust, somebody she can bounce ideas around with. So the logistics, it doesn't have to be video. If you don't want to do video, you can literally do voice, just voice only. You can do synchronous or asynchronous, right? There's plenty of things that somebody could just send you a question and then you can reply when you have the time to answer that question. It's not immediate, like we need it right now. What were you going to say?
And like people might say, well, here comes the Peace Corps gene. I feel bad charging people for this or whatever. Put it as an add-on for a monthly subscription. Like you shared a video of Peter Attia. Peter Attia has 70 patients. He sees 70 patients a year. But those patients are paying a lot of money because they have almost or virtually unlimited access to Peter Attia and his team and his knowledge. That's what you're selling. Understand that that's what you're selling. The how you can sell that is almost infinite. I almost jumped into your comment section the other day. I can't remember who it was because I recognized the person's name and I was like, I've had an interaction with this person. It doesn't go well because I lead in comments with questions. Someone will make a statement. Yours leaves room. You make 85% of a statement and end with a question. You're like, here's this thing. I think it could be used this way. What do you think? And someone comes in and they make a definitive close statement. I would never do that. I love, they call themselves, I have 30 years experience in outpatient or whatever they do. And they're so close-minded. I come in with questions and they take offense to that. So I don't do that anymore. I don't know, just goes in circles. But the idea there being is like, what are you selling? You could rage against the machine all day long. You could rage against AI, but understand that there's still a space for you. That space doesn't look like it did 5 years ago, 5 minutes ago, right? So understanding what it is you actually sell first, right? And understand that the way that was transmitted or shared, it shifted. It did. And if you don't embrace it, you will be left behind. And that's not me threatening you. That's not me wishing you ill. I'm trying to ring the bell. I feel like Cassandra, Greek mythology, she could see the future, but she was cursed that anybody she told what was going to happen in the future, they automatically wouldn't believe her. We feel like Cassandra sometimes.
I don't know that story at all. I've never heard that story.
In 5th grade, I definitely thought adulthood had more to do with Greek mythology because we studied it for about 11 years. And it has come up 3 times at trivia nights in the last 25 years.
All right, so I want to double down on what you were just saying. That's such a great topic. I want to give a practical application to people watching right now. Like, okay, Jimmy, Tony, how do I roll this out tomorrow? We see posts in the Facebook groups. They're like, I'm desperate. I need money. Medicare hasn't paid me for a month. What do I do right now? So literally, you can go to clarity.fm, F as in Frank, M as in Mary. You can create a free account. You can set pricing at whatever rate you want to set pricing. It is a voice-only platform. They will give you the toll-free number. They will connect you in regards to like messaging service so that the candidate can message you and you can clarify things. They have a booking feature. They take 15% off the top, but they don't charge you until the call is complete. And the call is paid for by the minute. So even if a consumer says, I want 15 minutes with Jimmy, but you only go 8, they only pay for 8. But if you go 17, you get the extra 2. So it kind of helps on both sides. You could literally do that in 10 minutes, have an account set up, you could be ready to go. And then when somebody like the person here says, hey, I've got a quick question. I want to pick your brain. I want to bounce some ideas off you. I want to do whatever. You say, hey, absolutely no problem. The best way to get me is use this link and book a call. You don't even have to say it costs you money. You just say, hey, book a call. Then they can make the decision on whether they want to pay. Now, typically it's going to be anywhere from, minimum I've seen is like $1.50 a minute or something. Usually it goes like $5 a minute. I think that's $300 an hour. Totally reasonable. And now on your drive, you can answer the phone, you can put it on, hands free, and you can help somebody anywhere in the world who has a question for you and wants to access your knowledge, your experience. You're not delivering physical therapy services. You are answering questions, informing people, you're educating. If you want to take it seriously, you can go down the route of the proper release forms and all the other stuff. But literally today, you can have a paid call set up where somebody will pay you for the experience that you have.
What are you looking for? I'm looking for a stick. Tony, can we have a quick conversation?
Please.
Do you think what you and the rest of our colleagues know in their brain about how to help people is valuable?
Of course.
Then I need to beat the Peace Corps gene out of you and myself. It was the same way when I started, right? People want to give you money in exchange for something they value more than that, right? I would not expect someone, even to come look at my bathroom and like give me suggestions for renovation. I sort of expect now people to say, I will come and spend an hour looking at your house and telling you, blah, 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 blah. I expect to pay for that, right? I expect it. It's not unexpected. That person is really good. The reason I picked them is I've seen their work. If someone believes you have value, you can ask for an exchange for that value. If you don't believe that what you have is valuable and you just want to give it away for free, that's cool too, but you can't complain about it. Can't complain about it.
All right. Let me share my screen again.
Okay.
I want to show you guys some images. I know we're kind of off. I don't know if I'm sharing my second or my third or whatever. Hang on a second. I'm going to pull this up. One of the biggest underutilized opportunities is going back to something I was doing 2 years ago. So bring this on. Okay. This is literally, I took this screenshot minutes ago while we were talking. Back in 2022, 23, I was doing about 2,000, let's say 2,300 a month from Amazon with affiliate commissions and influencer commissions. That dropped down in 2024 and early 2025 to like 700. It got to the point where it wasn't even worth it. Now you can see here over the last 30 days, and I'll explain these two charts real quick. The top one says $1,860. What that is this is on-site commissions, meaning when a consumer goes to Amazon to buy something, they go to the product page, they scroll down, they find videos of me and other people that are using the product, talking about the product, explaining what the product can do. Obviously, most of these are sales videos, but what I try to do is I try to say, look, I'm not selling you this product. I don't care if you buy the product or not. These are the features of the product, or this is how I use the product. Hey, my name's Tony Maritato. I'm a physical therapist. So in the last 30 days, I've generated $1,860 from commissions on Amazon, and then off Amazon. So when I share an affiliate link on my Facebook page, I've generated $727. Combine those two, we're getting close to $2,500 for the month. And this is just going to continue to go up into November and December because obviously we're hitting the holiday season. This is stuff that we do every single day.
Correct.
Jimmy wants to find out what's the best rollator for his dad. Okay, here are a couple options. This is what I like about this one. This is what I like about that one. Every single day we're making these recommendations. All I'm doing is capturing the recommendation on a video, uploading it to the Amazon page. If you have a big enough audience to be an influencer, if you don't, you just share it on your own page. And then you get paid by the product company because they recognize the value of you sharing that information with your audience.
This is an exchange of value.
That's all it is. Taking the trust and the goodwill that I've built, honoring it, protecting it, not sharing crappy products that I don't actually use in the clinic, And, helping solve consumers' problems. Consumers want to know, look, there's 1,000 Chinese knockoffs on this website. Which is the one that actually is worth the money that you're investing? That's what we're delivering in that exchange.
All right. So you ready for my number 2, which would be number 3? No.
Yes.
I don't.
Four.
I lost 4. Oh, I'm evens. Yeah, I'm evens. All right. So my first idea, the first one I brought up was teleconsulting, right? Telehealth plus RTM is a way to do it, right? That's business to consumer. Now I want to switch to business to business. Jimmy's more of a business to business guy, ironically, right? Radio was business to consumer. But what I really did was I tried to get as many consumers as I can, as many listeners as I could, and then turn to a business and I'd say, hey, do you want access to this? I want to flip the script though. So I want physical therapists to think about corporate partnerships. What I want you thinking is, who has a problem times 1,000 people that I could come in and solve for at scale? We've had people who've done corporate wellness, corporate health, workplace, workforce health, whatever you want to call it. It is solving someone who has money's problem at scale. So I think Amazon warehouse, think an organization that has a large movement-based workforce. There are people out there doing that. Look for local to mid-sized companies, right? You breaking into FedEx might be really, really hard, but you breaking into a local chain, where I live in upstate New York, there's a large shipping company. A lot of people I went to high school with, their parents worked for this shipping company. They loaded stuff all day long. Could you be the on-call PT for that, right? Could you do prevention? Make sure you're talking to the right person. I'm speaking to this like I've done it. I haven't, but I've talked to people who did. Make sure you're speaking to the right person. They probably have different job titles. I'll get Chris McCallum on the show again to tell you what the name of the job titles are, because she quite literally wrote a book about this. But there are people whose job it is to crunch the numbers of how much does it cost when Tony pulls his back muscle and he's out, and now we got to pay workman's comp. Well, if we had brought Dave Kittle in from Concierge Pain Relief to do a workshop about these things, we might have lost 1 or 2 injuries, and that would cost us this per week, per day, per month. Also, a lot of times there's already a line item in a budget for this. This is not me making this up. This is smart people telling Jimmy stuff on a microphone. There are wellness budgets. You giving a better pitch for this than just giving everybody a gym membership, which is also a good use of a wellness budget if someone uses it. But now you're bringing the knowledge to them again. These people already have a budget. Let them, give them an opportunity for you to actually use it. There are models out there that are doing this already. So this isn't us inventing something that out of nowhere. People are doing this. You're not. I think you should in 2026.
Yeah. And what's nice about that is, like, I personally, as a therapist, I do not like, I would almost say I hate any kind of work site stuff. You and I have a great mutual contact, Rick Wickstrom. Mm-hmm. I learned how to do FCEs through Rick. I've done all sorts of stuff with Rick in the past. He's literally right down the road. He created a testing system for new hires, so that if a company is thinking about bringing somebody on, but they're a huge work related risk profile, you don't hire them. You hire me to make sure that you're not bringing on more cost and more problems in a potential new hire. I don't like work site stuff. We have GE, we have Cliffs Natural, we have a ton of opportunity like that in the area. But you can take that concept and you can bring it into so many different things. You could go into a school. So my kids go to a private school. The school is always looking for ways to differentiate themselves, to market themselves. There's lots of private schools in the community. They could easily hire a therapist to come in and redesign the classroom and make it more, accessible to different needs of different children. You could take this into sports. You can take this into hobbies. You can take it into so many different areas. I think you and I had talked a long time ago about gaming, about, the competition of gaming, esports. This was another huge opportunity where you could start to combine these ideas. You go on Amazon, you look at chairs, you look at monitors and screens and the setup for esports. And then you create an entire program so that esport athletes are minimizing their repetitive strain injuries and minimizing their other problems.
Yep. People are doing this right now. Kate McGee, we talked in 2014 where she described to me how big esports was, and she used the word that started
back
with
then
in billions, and I literally looked at her and I was like, are you serious? And now well surpassed that, and she jumped on this. Give credit to Kate McGee and the team there. She jumped on this when people were like, that's not a real job, that's not a real thing. She saw this coming from 10 miles away, and it's beyond here, guys. This isn't nice to have, this is need to have. So wait, are you pro this idea, or you just wouldn't do it personally because it's not your vibe?
I wouldn't do it on a work site like a GE or Procter and Gamble or Cliffs Natural. I wouldn't go into industrial. I wouldn't go into those areas, me personally. If somebody has an interest, I think it's amazing. They absolutely should go take advantage of it. But if you're like me and you're like, I don't want to go into that world, then you say, well, how can I take this into other worlds? That's where you've got the esports and the other stuff that you can do. You're applying the same principles of basic ergonomics, body positions. You're talking about nutrition and sleep and recovery between sessions. I think it's a universal application. It doesn't just have to be work site. It can be taken anywhere.
Oh yeah, agreed. Yeah, but find people who have a problem and solve them in novel ways. And again, esports was novel 10 years ago. I don't even know that solving that is novel anymore. I don't think that it is. This is a big problem that people have.
Find people who have a problem and money to pay for the solution to that problem.
So I mean, not to make this a therapy session, right? We're doing 6 best PT side hustles for 2026. I think that was Jimmy's problem, or I think that is Jimmy's problem, is step one is asking, like, is this an actual big enough problem for people to want to solve it? And I usually come in with marketing and communications and different ideas for people. And I think a lot of times marketing isn't the problem. You have to highlight, is hiring your problem? Is client acquisition your problem? Where even the guy who's it's way easier for me to frame problems and describe them from other people than it is ourselves, right? Because we're neck deep in our own stuff. But people don't have a lack of physical therapy problem. They don't. They have a lifting your grandkids problem. Remember that ad? I think it was for the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. The guy in his woodshed, and he's out there with a kettlebell, and you can't figure out why. And then he lifts the kid up to put the star on the Christmas tree. Chef's kiss, guys. He doesn't have a physical therapy problem. He didn't have a gym membership problem. He had a something else problem. I think part of our strength as a profession is we can do so many things. And of course, part of our weakness is we can do so many things. Pick a couple of those things. What's the problem? Do I have money and a desire to solve it? And then put those things together to do that. So your next suggestion is what? Are we back on you?
Yeah, we're back on me. Just to review, so you talked about at least telehealth. I talked about Amazon affiliate. What was the first one I mentioned that I came out? Oh, we talked about social media. Let's go full. Say it again.
Like an influencing platform, or how do you get in front of?
Yeah, let's go full circle back to social media. I don't think it's any surprise that AI avatars are pretty much going to take over, social media. So the real life fleshy Tony Maritato is going to disappear, and the AI version of Tony Maritato is going to develop. Where I think we come into play, we didn't lose our spot, is we don't need to be the one behind the camera, in front of the camera. We need to understand the psychology of what that AI avatar should be saying, should be doing. And I think if we can leverage 20 years for me, clinical experience, I know, okay, that patient walking in with stenosis, I know they're going to tell me, Tony, I don't get it. I can push a grocery cart through the supermarket for 40 minutes, but I can't walk across the room without bending over and without my back hurting. Tony, as soon as I sit down, my back pain goes away. But when I stand up for more than 3 or 4 minutes, my legs go numb and I start to tremble. Like we have the actual words that patients have been telling us for decades. That is where the gold is. That's where the value is. And so us learning how, like I've been learning, okay, how does VEO3 work for Google? How does Sora work for OpenAI? How can I create content using these tools? Because that's all they are. They're still tools. In a way that resonates and connects with the end consumer. And when we look at combining a couple concepts, the 60-minute segment the other night, Peter Attia, he's not doing anything that you and I haven't understood and done forever. And he acknowledges, like, look, it's not hard. Like, this is pretty simple stuff. Lift heavy things, get strong, focus on building body resilience so that if you can make it to 90, you're not debilitated. If you can make it to 90, you can enjoy the time with your grandkids. You can have a meaningful relationship with your family. You can still, we talked about the lady who did the Ironman, I think at age 80. So we put all of this together and we say, okay, I can only treat 10 people, 15 people in a day. But if I create the AI avatar that shares the message to millions, now I can have impact on a population level. You know, and not only that, like you look at the 60-minute segment, what caught people's attention was he said, look, I charge 6 figures. I only have 70 patients or 75 patients. People doing the math are like, man, $700,000 or $1 million or whatever. That's a drop in the bucket compared to what he's making on social media. And he's not even charging the consumer. He's putting out content every single day that's helping millions of people completely at zero cost to them because the media channels are paying him, you know, and I'm happy to share it, but like I get $600 from Facebook, I get $500 from YouTube, I just got a check for $2,000 from ads running on one of my websites that I didn't even remember. I had forgotten about this until I went back and I realized there was a year of ad revenue that I hadn't accessed because it was just sitting there in the bank account. Mm-hmm. This is me on a minuscule level compared to somebody like Attia, who's at, 10 or 100 times what I'm doing. So we create and influence the AI avatar. We can't do that if we don't understand how it works. If we don't understand the technology, if we're not starting to move into that world today so that we're there when that world really has a solid basis in the next year or two.
I told you before, I had somebody who of prominence in a large PT organization came and asked me a question in a DM. This is in November, a year ago, year plus, and said, how do we make sure that AI gives the answer, that physical therapy is the answer when people ask it a PT type question? And I looked right at him and I said, PT needs to be the answer. You can't just frame it as that, right? But you harnessing that tool and putting it in front of people, if people are too lazy or they don't know what question to ask, giving them the answer. Example, my brother wants to do more wedding and corporate DJ events, and he shares pictures. I'm not knocking him because I see other people doing this. He shares pictures of his gear setup, the lights, the booth, the speakers, the lasers, whatever, in empty rooms. People don't buy empty rooms. They buy experiences. But I don't understand why, especially DJs or most of them share pictures of empty rooms. Would you want to keep showing pictures of injured people, or do you want pictures of people doing the things that they want to do? No problem with the before and after, but you've got to give me the after. I want a party. I don't care how big your speakers are. What I want to make sure is that grandma has a good time. Attia understands how to sell the after. That one clip that you shared with Nora O'Donnell interviewing Attia, he says, sometimes I break out a piece of paper and a pen and I draw out a timeline. I say, this is you at 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. You want to get here? Great. Now, where are your kids? You had your kid at 30, which means they become 30 when you're 60. Where's your first grandkid coming into play? What do you want that to be? Not one thing was brought up about a deadlift or a medication or a hyperbaric chamber or red light therapy. But now they're bought in and saying, you can get me there. Yes, if you can confidently say, I can help you get there in better shape to enjoy that, that is what you're actually selling. If you think you're going to sit still on a conveyor belt of patients and they're just going to come in and understand that without you giving effort and explaining that, you are wrong. I want you to be right, but I think you're wrong.
Yeah, I think that's the hard thing is we still want the consumer to want us first, and without us doing anything, we're like, don't they understand? Well,
No.
you, me, we spent 6 figures learning what we know and 7 years in school. The average consumer doesn't have that much passion for physical therapy. We can't think like our way of thinking is what the consumer is thinking. And until we can get past that, now the ones who do get past that, man, they're massively successful. But it takes some work to get past that mindset. I wanted to show anybody who's watching, this is an incredible, this is where the technology is right now. So this is a post I shared in one of my Facebook groups. Basically what you've got, I'll take you through the timeline. This is a photo of a Renpho massage gun. This is a massage gun literally sitting on a plinth. I took out my phone and I took a picture. And then I started queuing AI. And so I went into, I think this was ChatGPT. I said, take the photo of this massage gun, make it futuristic, give it cool lighting and dramatic scenery. And it changed that photo into this photo.
Yeah.
And then from there, I took that photo and I said, now put 2 athletic individuals, a man and a woman, behind the massage gun so that I can start using this to create an ad to promote the massage gun. That's what it gave me. It gave me this imagery. I know if you're listening, you can't see it, but then I took this image and I went into VO3 on Google.
Meet the Renpho ThermoCool 2. In a world where recovery defines performance, power meets precision.
And I said, turn this into a video, animate the 2 people in the background, make them do athletic movements, and give me a voiceover that promotes the Renpho massage gun. And this was what was created. Let's play it one more time.
The Renpho ThermoCool 2. In a world where recovery defines performance, power meets precision.
Okay. So I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's pretty freaking good.
If you play,
Yeah,
I mean, I would say do 10 of those, share 10 of them, figure out which 2 or 3 work best, triple down on those, try to figure that out, and do 10 more just like those 2 or 3. Lather, rinse, repeat, if that's your goal. Now, I think what we hear from a lot of people, what I hear from a lot of people is like, you guys do like 100 different things. We're not advocating for you to do 100 different things. We're sort of like, I don't know, Bill Nye the Science Guy. We're just like testing stuff and figuring it out, right? Take the ones that you're aligned with, or you're like, yes, I would like to do this, or I could easily see, well, I don't want to say easily see. I could see how this might fit in my flow now, or with the audiences and people I already have a relationship with, and then double down on that. I think that's the easier way to go.
Yeah, we just finished my 3. You have 1 more to deliver.
Oh, yeah. All right. So my last one. All right. So let's review. My first one was, I still think tele or something, getting to someone's phone or giving access with remote therapeutic monitoring or something was number 1. That's business.
For the record, real quick, for the record, Peter Attia said we are releasing an app that's going to allow that kind of access. Like, this is the natural continuity of where this stuff goes. Okay, go ahead.
If he's selling it for 80 grand a year, you should be selling it for 8 grand a year, because you're not Peter Attia, but you're not nothing. That's what I want people to understand. All right. So that was business to consumer. Attia is going business to consumer. My second idea was business to business. Corporate partnerships. How can you do something monthly, quarterly, something? My third is a little bit different. This is direct business to consumer, but in a group. So, right. So one was what was you to one. The second was one to many. This is one to many, but consumers. I still think local performance pop-ups is something that's fast, fun, and gives you instant credibility. This can be as simple. Don't let the fancy words confuse you. This can be a run club This can be a lifting group. This could be the 5:30 a.m. club at your clinic when it's not typically open. Making sure you're using your knowledge and the problem that people honestly have, and host themed community mobility or performance events. Golf swing screen day. Do that the minute, make a campaign out of it. As soon as it breaks, I mean, I'm a little bit of a golfer, but I mean, I guess 60 degrees, right, would be like warm enough when golf starts. Hey guys, it's about to break 60. The day it breaks 60, we're going to do our golf screen, right? Pickleball prep, run season tune-up, ski season tune-up, half-day experiences, right? Figure out five or 10 different exercises that you can do and measure results of someone. Make it like an obstacle course. I was a pediatric PT for a little while. Make everything an obstacle course was the advice. At what age do we stop making stuff like that fun? Is it 18, 21, 60? But there is an age there where we stop making this stuff fun. Could you set up something that you could measure and capture baseline? Now I'm talking to PT and PT terms, and then entice people to go through a program and then do the same obstacle course at the end and see the difference. Wow. JP Guidry, who I've had on the show, very, very good and gotten better at showing, you want to hit bombs on the golf course? You want to drive longer? Great. You need to be in the gym. It's not a different driver. It's getting in the gym. So he understands the carrot on the end of the stick and says, you have to get in the gym to do that. So I think selling these things, and here's why. A lot of things we talked about are digital and virtual and captured on a screen or a laptop or a TV. I think the pendulum the pendulum will eventually swing. That's what pendulums do. Bell bottoms are great, then they're horrible, then they're great again. Guess what? In a couple of years, they're going to be great again. I think in-person events will come back. And I think if you understand how to create one, promote one, and deliver on one, you can lather, rinse, repeat, take out pickleball, insert ski, take out ski, insert run. I think this is high touch, low lift for people in 2026.
Yeah, I love it. And again, I'm going to yes and you. I think you can take this in directions where, like we have a couple big time readers in the family. They love reading. They consume a book a day. Like I don't know that I've ever read a book cover to cover. These family members of mine are reading entire novels. Like they're just voracious readers. But I think they also understand, hey, reading tends to be a very sedentary experience. It tends to be very, secluded, like it's just you. We see book clubs. I think you've done stuff with like research and why are we not including fitness in something like this? You bring an element of from as low level to, okay, I'm going to buy 10 cubies. We're going to set them down in front of the chairs and we're going to do book club. We'll spend some time reading. We'll spend some time discussing, but we're going to spend the entire time moving. To you bring fitness to things that are typically sedentary activities. Chess. People, I've got big time chess players in the family. They go to chess competitions. They're chess coaches. Why are we not bringing an element of fitness to chess? We have speed chess. Why not lifting chess? Like, why not bring these other things? The key here is it has to be something you personally are passionate about. I don't care. I'm not passionate about chess. I don't want to play chess. I'm not crazy about chess. So for me to force myself into that world, it's not going to be very successful. Right. But if somebody who's already doing it wants to add that on. Now, you and I believe, talked about the book creation of like, hey, grandma's going to come in. We're going to do a 12-visit session. Maybe I was talking to Dave. There are services out there that use AI to record the audio of grandma or grandpa answering questions. Then they put that into a book, a printed book that's like a chronicle of grandma's life growing up. Then there's also video component, and you get to the weird stuff where AI now recreates grandma. So a decade after grandma has passed away, the grandkids, great grandkids, could literally talk to grandma in real time, an AI version, and ask questions and hear stories. And like, it's really cool. Why do we not have that in the physical therapy clinic as a cash-based add-on so that, okay, grandma doesn't want to come in and lift the weights. We know she needs to, but she will come in and share stories of her childhood. So she's coming for that and getting the other stuff.
I don't know, Tony. I think we probably could do something with chess and physical therapy. Did you see these guys? They're like doing Nordic hamstring curls, but the chessboard is in between them. So they've got to do a Nordic curl to come all the way down and make the move.
I love it.
Carrot and the stick, right? I remember seeing this video and going, yeah, gamification. I think gamification can be my bonus suggestion, which is how do you take whatever you want them to do? I don't know. Maybe maybe pediatric PTs need to teach ortho PTs, like good ortho and sports PTs. They know how to do this. I think we're talking to the middle of the bell curve, the ones that might be a little afraid or their boss is like taking that stick I was looking for a minute ago and beating the fun out of some of those things. But you don't need a giant facility or lots of expensive tools to make things fun. I mean, a set of Blaze Pods is what? Like that to me is like the coins in Super Mario Brother brought to life, and like light sound, and you can make a billion games out of that. I don't think you need to reinvent the wheel for this. I don't think you need to add a $10,000 piece of equipment or a red light sauna. I'm not knocking those things, but I think there's some other things that you can do in 2026 to bring value that could maybe have you afford some of these larger things or a place that's on Main Street and not off the beaten path. I think that's the way to go.
You gave me a visualization. I need to get ChatGPT to make the image. I just imagine like the typical corporate PT hanging from a rope like a piñata, getting hit with a stick and CPT codes falling out.
That's where we are.
All right. I think we're good. That was awesome. It was at least 6 best side hustles for 2026. We are looking into the next year. I think any clinician can find something of value in today's episode that they can use to, if not even make more money, just keep the profession exciting, keep the profession moving forward, keep it interesting. If we look at parting shots, I think the big takeaway message is, the profession is just the platform or the vehicle. That's all it is. It's nothing more than that. Use it to launch yourself into the future. Use it to build the life that you want to build, because, if you don't, it's just going to chew you up and spit you out, and you're going to be where you were 20 years ago. There are great things that can happen. Just leverage the platform for what it is.
Yeah, I would say is keep it simple, right? All the suggestions we had, they might sound complicated at first, but if you look at it, it's a delivery device, right? How do we deliver this thing? We didn't say go get a certification. We didn't say change how you treat, right? Other people they might try to sell you those things, which is fine, right? Lifelong learning, but these are delivery devices. This is finding a person who has a real problem, who doesn't need you to twist their arm to solve that problem. Like that might be one of the more important elements. If the person doesn't believe that what they have is a problem that's worth solving or worth giving up time, effort, or money to solve it, you should move on. So it's not overcomplicated, but continue to do that in 2026. And I think the world will beat a path to your door, or you'll beat a path to the world's door. Maybe that's more accurate. We've got to reverse that. What do we want to talk about? We want to do a front tease. Anything you want to talk about later on in the week?
What is today? Is today Tuesday? Holy cow. Yeah. So, all right. Coming back on Thursday. If you guys like these 6-pack episodes, let us know in the comments. Give us a like, because what was the other 6-pack we were going to do?
Social media trends of 2026. I think when Dave's back, he's going to be on vacay for a little while. I think a 6-pack still works with each of us given 2. We got to up our game. We can't have
guys. My Facebook business page has been averaging 3 million views a month. 3 million views a month. I will share the behind the scenes maybe on Thursday when we do the next 6-pack.
All right. So are we locking that in? Is that our official front tease? We're doing social media trends for 2026.
Yes.
Sounds good. All right. Make sure you subscribe and like and subscribe. We should just record an outro that has us going through all the different channels, and we don't have to remember all of them. I would like to say, if you're still listening or watching live or recorded, if you have a suggestion or you liked any of the ones that we just mentioned and you're thinking of actually trying it, we'd love to hear about it, that you're going to do it, and then maybe in a month, 3 months, 6 months, how it went. I do want the before, right? That light bulb moment, and the after. Tony, have a good Tuesday. Stay warm out there in Ohio.
Will do.